and welcome to Riding with Rob. I'm your host as normal, Rob. And today we're going to talk about something that everybody has, something we haven't done yet, and that's a car list. And what I mean by that is the list of cars that you've owned since, you've been owning and driving cars. Plain and simple. My current list tops out at 9 cars, so we'll try and get this done in somewhat of a timely fashion, but where to start? Well, let's start with my very first car ever. I bought a 1987. It was a Buick Skylark, 4-cylinder, and I only had to pay for the tow to pull it out of the weeds where it had been sitting on someone's farm for, I don't know, probably since 1987. And, I never actually got to drive this car. Got it running at one point, then it suddenly stopped. Pulled the intake apart and found that a squirrel had left quite a few acorns inside the intake. So, I don't know if you know this, but acorns plus internal combustion equals bad. Just, throwing that out there. So my actual, I guess, what I would consider my real first car, because I actually drove it for a while, was a 1992 Ford Escort LX. It was a 1.8 liter, 2-door hatchback, and I gotta tell you, I thought it was the greatest car in the whole world at the time. I mean, I was 16, my first car. All I cared about is that it went places. The speakers were all blown out on it. It only had a cassette player, which at the time was no big deal, because I just got the cassette deck converter, hooked it into my Discman. Oh yeah, that's right, my Sony Discman. And it was great. It was a ton of fun. A ton of trunk space in the thing. Played in the band when I was in high school. Typical high school kid. And hauled all my music equipment in there. Crammed tons of friends in the thing. Probably more than what you really should. More than I should be admitting. I'm sure I'm going to get a phone call from my mother about this later. But I ended up blowing out the transmission on that thing. It no longer wanted to shift, and oh hey, there's one right there. Probably about the same condition mine was in. But he ended up blowing out the transmission on it. Probably didn't help that I have kind of a heavy foot, and it kind of was very slow. So it's constantly full throttle, and with a car completely packed full of either stuff or friends. After I blew out that transmission, I still drove it around for a few months until I finally went and I bought, a nice car. And what I ended up buying was a 2002 Mitsubishi Galant ES. And I gotta tell you, I loved that car. Like, seriously loved that car. From that point forward, I became a Mitsubishi enthusiast, or however you want to say it. I have a thing for Mitsubishi, okay? Like, seriously, I love Mitsubishi. And it really stems from this car. It was the 2.4 liter, it was a 4-speed automatic. I mean, at the time I didn't know how to drive stick shift. Okay? And I'm contradicting myself, automatics are for losers, whatever. But I gotta tell you, the 2.4 felt very peppy. It was a hell of a lot faster than my Escort, but I mean, not exactly a hard task to accomplish. But man, it was nice. It really was. A great stereo system, 4-door, tons of trunk space, handled great. It was a ton of fun to drive. And you know what? I beat the hell out of that car, and it didn't mind it at all. It was like, yeah, this is fine. No problem. Whatever. That's cool. I mean, I really beat the hell out of that car. About that time was when, like, Fast and Furious started to get really popular, and Too Fast, Too Furious was about to come out. So I really got into the whole, like, racer phase of my cars. I put vinyl graphics down the side of it. Tribal flames, no less. Definitely thought that was cool. Bought an eBay cold air intake and header, and deleted the catalytic converter. And man, I loved that car. Now, I had ordered a carbon fiber hood for it, and it was an Evo style. Well, I guess it kind of was evil. This ruined my car. Well, not that I hadn't already, but that's besides the point. It was an Evo 6 style hood, so it had the big vent in the side plus a little corner vent. It was carbon fiber, ordered off of eBay. It comes in the mail. I'm driving home from work. At the time, I was working in the city. I'm driving home from work. I'm all excited. I'm going to go install my new carbon fiber hood, and I'm going to be a badass with a carbon fiber hood, because who isn't a badass if you have a carbon fiber hood? Who isn't? So I'm on my way home, right? All excited. I'm stopped in dead stop traffic behind a old Ford pickup truck. Look at my rearview mirror. There's a guy in a big GMC pickup truck, of course. Cup of coffee on the steering wheel. Head buried in the stereo. Just down here. And he's just coming. And he hasn't looked up. And he's not seen. Now, this is before texting. This motherfucker was texting. I probably would have been killed. Okay? So he finishes looking, and the stereo looks up just in time. And I'm watching this in the rear view mirror, right? So I put both feet on the brake. And I go like this, because I'm not sure how hard this is going to hurt, or, you know, hit, or whatever. And so here he comes, and just bam! Just barely hits the brakes in time, locks up the tires, smashes me. The dude's trailer hitch in front of me goes straight through my radiator, fucking cracks a cross member. My front bumper's gone. My trunk's all crumpled up. Man, it just completely totaled out the car. So that was the end of my Galant. And you know, I actually still have the carbon fiber hood for it. I have not gotten rid of it. And don't ask me why. I'm just a piece of my car, you know. But so the insurance company decided they were going to total it out, blah blah blah. And you know how well and quickly insurance companies work. So I was out of a car for a while, and I needed something to get back and forth to work. So I was looking for cheap cars. Picked up a 1992 Nissan Sentra, 1.8 5-speed, and that was a good little car. Drove that for a while. Let's see what to mention about that car. It was the first 5-speed car I ever owned, and it was awesome. Okay, there's something about driving a 5-speed that it was great. I mean, the car was just, you know, it was kind of a rust bucket, and it wasn't all that fancy or nice, but it was just a great little car. I absolutely loved it, and decided from then on that, man, I am only going to buy stick shift cars. So I ended up learning how to drive stick on this car, because the person who took me to get it told me, yeah, I'll teach you how to drive stick, no problem. Kind of gave me a quick, you know, pressing the clutch, put it in gear, give it a little gas, let out the clutch, you'll be good to go. When we got there, instead of getting out and helping me, I got out the car, went inside, got the title and the keys, came out, and he was gone. So I had a couple miles of a journey, never driven stick shift before, had a slight concept of how to do it, and that was that. I was going to learn how to drive stick. Whoa! Something in the road there. I don't know if that was a coyote or a really massive possum. Sorry about that. So anyway, I'm trying to drive this thing home. I stall it out like 3 or 4 times. Finally figure out that the e-brake's still set. Automatic driver. Not used to having an e-brake set. Go figure. Finally get the hang of it, and I probably drove that car around for a good like 6 hours after that. Just driving it around, getting a feel for it, you know, doing the whole Paul Walker, slam the clutch, slam it in gear, you know, let it out, smash the gas, you know, thing for a while. Tried to do the whole Vin Diesel double clutch thing, and if you got a synchronized transmission, double clutching doesn't work. If you don't know what double clutching is, don't worry about it. You don't need to double clutch it anymore, okay? Fucking Vin Diesel. And, so anyway, drove that thing around for a while, until the insurance money finally came through. Had a few $1,000s to spend, and, I wanted what any, you know, kid wants. I wanted an Evo. Definitely was not in the cards for me. But, an idiot, dude. Go all the way over. But yeah, so I wanted an Evo, but definitely wasn't in the cards, couldn't afford it. I found for sale a 1994 3000 GT, and without making any real inspection of the car or any real, real clarifying decision, I said, "Ooh, that's neat looking," and I bought it. Probably not the best decision in the world, but I went ahead and bought it, and man, that was probably that was, at the time, the fastest car I ever owned, and that's an awesome car. All leather interior. The driver's seat had electronic controls. Had the Infinity stereo system. It wasn't SL, so it was not turbocharged. However, it was dual overhead cam, so it still made 222 horsepower, which is still pretty decent. The car doesn't weigh that much, so it is kind of heavier than, say, an Eclipse or a Glut, but it still was a lot of fun. Pretty quick car. And I beat the hell out of that car. Unfortunately, it had already been beat to hell. And I had the unfortunate luck of having to deal with all the issues that come with buying a car that's been beat to shit. So eventually it ended up breaking down, and I decided I was going to tear it all apart, rebuild it. It was going to be an awesome track car, and I was going to gut it out and build up the motor and turbocharge it and blah, 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 blah. Got it all the way apart, got my gasket kit, a few other parts, started building it back up, and realized I don't have the money for this. I didn't have the money for it. There was no possible way I had the money to finish it. Just got out of school and was going to be, having to start paying off my student loans and a whole bunch of other shit. So, really needed the money. Ended up parting out the car, and selling the shell, and that was that. So while that was down, and while I was parting that whole thing out, I had picked up a 2001 Honda Accord, kind of a sportier looking four-door sedan, 2.2 liter, very peppy. For 2.2, I think it's a little bit faster than my Galant was at the time. Great stereo system, very reliable, awesome on gas, but there was a problem with it. The seat, the driver's seat. For the life of me, I could not get comfortable in that driver's seat. Great car, don't get me wrong, absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it. For whatever reason, that driver's seat was just extraordinarily uncomfortable. There was just something about it that, no matter how many times I adjusted it, no matter how long I drove it, I would always get out of the car with a sore back and a sore ass, and I just hated it. I just really, really hated it. And once again, it was, just getting out of school, so I decided I needed some money, and decided I'm going to sell this car. I'm going to buy something cheaper. And I'm going to put money into that car, because that's a lot more fun. So I've got a 94 Galant on the hook, 2.4, dual overhead cam, 5-speed, guy wants $500. I sell my car, call him up, and he sold it. So I had 2 days in which to find another car, and had to go to work. Didn't have a ride. So I'm scouring Craigslist looking for something that's decently close by. End up finding a Plymouth Laser RS automatic turbo about 4 blocks away from my house. So end up walking down there, $1,500, scoop up this car, and my whole life changed at this moment. This is like the pinnacle moment in my life where I realized that there are some extraordinary cars out there. It was a 2-liter dual overhead cam, turbocharged, Mitsubishi's flagship engine, the 4G63, and it was just phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Yes, it was automatic when I got it. That shortly changed. A friend of mine was parting out his DSM, and I picked up a transmission from him, a manual transmission, for $25. Went to the junkyard. Probably spent another, I don't know, $150 for the rest of my manual transmission setup. Went and bought a clutch from AutoZone. Not the best idea, by the way. If you have a turbo car, maybe invest in a nice clutch. Just saying. Did that, and oh my God, was that car just insane. Just absolutely insane. Even with the little 13V turbo, it was just absolutely impressive. Got it up to 165 on the highway racing once, and it was phenomenal. Pushed it up to 150, 145 constantly. I ended up doing a whole lot of work to the car. Did a full custom exhaust from turbo back. I ended up switching out to the 14B turbo, and the switched out the injectors to 450 cc's, put a 2G mass airflow in it. Really started to get into actual performance and actual tuning, and I absolutely loved the car. Now, there's a problem. I put a boost controller on it, didn't put a boost gauge in it, cranked the shit out of the boost, and basically blew the motor. Was burning a lot of oil, went through quite a few clutches, and I just couldn't put any more money into it. I had some bad luck with some jobs, and was really kind of down on my luck, and I needed to do something, anything really. And so I was on DSM Tuners. Great website, by the way, if you own a Mitsubishi Eclipse, Plymouth Laser, Eagle Talon, Galant VR4. Definitely a good place to go, get some information, and those guys will really help you out. But went on there, found a guy who had a 93 Eclipse that he was wanting to sell or trade because he wanted to just buy a turbo car instead of swapping it all over. Can't blame the guy. I was not ready to leave the world of DSMs, and didn't have the money to put into my car, so I traded him. Traded him straight up. I had a little bit of issues here and there with the car, but you know what? It was a 60,000 mile 93 Eclipse, and it was awesome. I absolutely fell in love with that thing just as much as I fell in love with the turbo version. Yes, it definitely needed a turbo, and still does. I still own the car to this day. It's sitting in my garage right now. Doing some work to it here and there. But was driving that daily driver for a real long time. And then my wife's father decided he was getting rid of this car. And so I ended up getting this as a daily driver, parked my DSM, so I can do some work on it. I'll be doing some videos on it later on this summer. You guys will see that. And yeah, I don't mind this car that much. I did a review on it a few videos back, so I'm not going to really go into this car now, because well, it's time to end. And so that's my car list. If you guys could hit the like and subscribe button if you like seeing my face, you like hearing me talk, you like going for rides with me. In the comment section below, leave me your car list. Tell me what your favorite car that you ever owned was, and a little reason why. For all you haters out there, the dislike button still works. It always will. And until next time, I'm Rob. I'll see you guys later.